BMX, and the summary is we're doing matrix ID to Keybase ID discovery and providing an end-to-end device authentication channel. I'm Dmitry Volkov, also known as TADHack, and that's Igor Kirichenko. Next slide. That's a matrix project, and we're doing Keybase integration. The theory of what Keybase is it's a public key store which solves two problems. First, we know one identity of a person, we want to discover another one. And second, we want to get public keys of known identity to encrypt something, for instance. So these two compose quite well. First issue we are solving is knowing given matrix, knowing how first issue we are solving is knowing if a given matrix user is legit. And to do that, we are checking Keybase, which gives us other social profiles of the user, like GitHub or Twitter. So we get some additional metadata to base our manual solution on, and the social graph. So Web of Trust. Now, verifying devices, also known as bootstrapping problem, is really hard. And there are basically three approaches to the problem. First one being Web of Trust. In the case of Matrix, it's not yet implemented, but in plans as transitive trust. So a little bit of I will describe this problem we are solving with Matrix in a little bit more detail. Matrix can do a multi-end to multi-end encryption, so like Telegram, but we can have multiple devices on either end. How that applies here, we want to, for instance, if we trust another person's phone and that phone trusts their laptop, we don't really have to manually trust the laptop because because the chain exists. So that would be transitive trust. The general basic solution for the problem that currently exists in communication systems, from chats to mainly in chats, I'd say, most widely known. For instance, in Telegram or in Matrix, when you first establish an end-to-end encrypted chat, you get a connection, and only then can you prove the keys. So that's trust on first use with potential out-of-band verification. And we can add other channels to that, like Web of Trust or PKE. Keybase is a better approach to the PKE problem than known, for instance, in TLS, in HTTPS PKE. Because they do proper signature chains, they do Bitcoin anchoring, but I won't delve into too much detail now. So the concept is Matrix should probably combine all three approaches. We already have TOFU, and the core team is working on transitive trust now, and we are presenting a proof of concept of Keybase integration. Keybase, as I said, is a good PKE solution, probably not the best to identity, because its proofs are somewhat limited quantitatively. For instance, they allow GitHub proofs, but don't allow Bitbucket or GitLab or whatever, so they don't merge what they don't like. But, well, they are quite secure, and that's good. They also leak metadata by design because the profiles are public, but systems which don't quite work yet, it's an open research problem, so Keybase works and it's secure enough, so we do that. How we go about implementing that is a Matrix user signs a manifest which describes the Keybase ID with the Keybase key, and posts it to a well-known room in Matrix. Another user checks the room, finds the manifests, and checks on send like OCSP in TLS, like OCSP with nonce, strictly speaking. So we don't get stale responses. What we have implemented and working at the very current moment is two command line utilities, one for posting manifests and another one for checking. We have, well, actually, we do have a functional Riot web. Riot is a Matrix client integration, but what we don't have is Matrix JS SDK implementation. As in, it's mocked up, so the interfaces are there, but we haven't plugged the implementation yet. What we have yet to do is we currently do ID mapping, but we don't do device signing, so we can't prove our devices via Keybase yet. We have yet to upstream our patches, we have yet to finish client integration and do other clients like Android or iOS. And what we are currently doing is signing with a PGP key verified via Keybase, and that's probably not the very best idea because they have pre-device keys with a SIG chain. So, but PGP on the other hand is more universal. So, as the system currently stands, you could use another public key server, not Keybase, and yeah, revoke with it. Issues we've encountered during implementation is first, Matrix doesn't do extensible profiles yet, so we can't add custom records. So we can't add a pointer to an event in the room, for instance. So a client has to manually unwind the history to get the proof, which doesn't scale, obviously, but that's fixable. Documentation is not that good, and the last issue I'd like to highlight, we can do matrix to Keybase mapping as we are now, but the reverse, like knowing a person's GitHub and discovering their matrix, we can't do because Keybase doesn't match stuff they don't like. And well, the matrix guys have been asking them for a long time to merge that, and well, they don't. So we have a Keybase identity source for matrix. We map IDs right now. We don't verify devices via Keybase yet. Via KeyBmax. Thanks. Sorry, and a short demo, first of command line utilities, and then the Riot integration. Here's a command line utility for posting a manifest. It's hard-coded, so no parameters here. Send event, event send, and let me check if it was. No, that wasn't the correct one, but we do have correct ones in the history of the room, so you'll see some now. Okay, 3 correct manifests. And those usernames are Keybase usernames, and they're verified with Keybase keys on fetch. And let's correct the username. And check again. Okay, actually something went wrong because we don't have a fourth one. But the code sure isn't legit. Nope, doesn't work, but it did. So we will now show Riot web integration, the web interface.
Hi, here's my local host. It's a local web app in dev mode, and so I'm joining our public proof room, and okay, so I already in another room. So here is I did a few hacks in Riot web app and in their SDK, and so I can get a Keybase identity of my room member, and I can verify him. So you also can notice that a public key is mock-up here, and it's a work in progress. But the mechanics of communicated with web app and SDK is implemented, as you can see here. So we can prove and unverify and check other information about users in the room. Thanks. That's all. Thanks.